Independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced Friday he is suspending his campaign and supporting the former president.
Our polling consistently showed that by staying on the ballot in the battleground states, I would likely hand the election over to the Democrats, with whom I disagree on the most existential issues.
Third-party candidate RFK Jr. has dropped out of the presidential race and endorsed Donald Trump, who just back in May, he accused of scamming American workers while enriching big agricultural companies. Now, RFK joined Trump during his packed rally in Arizona over the weekend. Now, remember, RFK Jr. first ran as a Democrat, then as an independent, before finally turning on the Democrats entirely in order to endorse Donald Trump, which is kind of weird considering all of the things that RFK Jr. had to say about Trump not a few years ago. Like literally this year, just a few months ago. So in a lengthy Twitter post on May 26th of this year, he put this out. President Trump scammed American workers. He promised to bring back manufacturing, raise wages, fix trade deals, close the carried interest loophole, and help small farmers. But everything President Trump achieved were things the Republican machine wanted. We got a tax cut for Jeff Bezos, deregulation for special interests, and giveaways to agriculture conglomerates. Also keep in mind that Donald Trump is the president who pushed for and succeeded in implementing Operation Warp Speed during the coronavirus pandemic, which ensured that a vaccine would be rolled out. If you know anything about RFK Jr., it's that he is against vaccines. And so this endorsement is a little strange. In that same Twitter post, by the way, he also wrote that President Trump bragged about arming Ukraine more than Obama did. He also walked away unilaterally from the intermediate range nuclear missile treaty with Russia, destabilizing our relationship. He also exacerbated tensions between Ukraine and Russia that ultimately caused a war. And look, these are issues that he's been speaking out about. These are issues that he purports to care about. These are issues that he felt that Donald Trump failed in basically responding to. But we're going to go to a Fox News video where he's confronted by his change of heart or about his change of heart. But before we get to that, Cenk.
Yeah, look, I hate every part of the RFK Jr. stories, and I'm conflicted on all fronts. So here's what I mean. So on the one hand, I always thought RFK Jr. was more right-wing than left-wing these days. Yes, his career has been mainly left-wing, and I appreciate that, and I've talked about that. We interviewed him about it. But the anti-vaccine stuff, the massively pro-Israel bomb Gaza stuff, just every part of it that wasn't actually like policy that was progressive seemed rhetorically, politically leaning right-wing. And so you know, Democrats these days, they don't want people like Bobby Kennedy Jr. And that's, you know, you could argue that's more on the Democrats than it is on RFK. Okay, on the other hand, brother, you started in the Democratic primary this time around, and now you're endorsing Trump. So look, I get it, the Democrats were jerks to you. No one understands that better than me. One, because I've covered it for 25 years. Two, because I lived it. I went in the primary, they were jerks to me. So they have a terrible process. It wasn't democratic at all. They're totally biased. They always support the incumbents, etc. I get it. That didn't magically make me change all of my opinions about policy.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
Or more importantly, forget that you're unhappy with how Trump responded to these issues or how he handled these issues, right? And look, I actually do think that part of what's motivating RFK Jr. is the fact that he's furious with the Democratic Party. And something that I know from personal experience is Democrats can't wait to purge you from the party, right?
Yeah.
Like it's an exclusive club. Whereas the Republican Party, they jump in it. Like the second someone is purged from the Democrats, that person who's been purged is going to get emails, tweets, direct messages, super welcoming from the Republican side. Because they understand politics and they understand power and they understand building a broad coalition in order to win. They want to win.
Yeah. Well, that goes to my point, Anna, which is that this seems like it's personal now, right?
It is. I think it is. Yeah.
So guys, I loathe the DNC. Not only do they always fight against progressives, they're massively biased, and they're also dumb. You drove him out from the party, and now he's supporting Trump. How'd that work out for you?
They should
strategically stupid at all turns, right?
They should have let him run. Like, the fact that they fought so aggressively to keep him off the ballots during the primaries. Like, what, you're threatened? You're threatened by RFK Jr.?
Yeah. In fact, I sued the Democratic Party in South Carolina because they took me off the ballot. And they said in open court, we have a right to put anyone we want on there. We don't have to follow any democratic process, and we do not wish to be associated with you.
Then don't purport to care about democracy.
Hold on, Anna. Okay, so that is all true, and if anyone could have caught feelings, it'd be me. They literally said, we do not want to be associated with you, okay? But that does not make me change my policies on protecting the Constitution, on housing, on corruption, on every single policy I have. And it doesn't make me go, oh my God, I'm so mad at the Democrats, I'm gonna get in bed with like a dictator wannabe clown ass, okay? So I would never do that. Okay, fine, everybody's different, he goes in this direction. I'm annoyed at everybody that's covering this in different ways too, to be honest. Oh my God, what did the other Kennedys say about it? Who cares what the other Kennedys said about it? Who cares? Oh my God. Okay, now this one we might agree or disagree, Anna. I don't know. But oh my God, he asked for something in return. Of course he did. That's what everybody asked for. Except the rest of you just lie about it. And he did a subtle lie here too. But you think Pete Buttigieg didn't get Secretary of Transportation because he stepped aside for Joe Biden in South Carolina? Of course he did. Anybody in the press pretending he didn't is being ridiculous. Now all of a sudden, like, it turns out there's politics going on here. Oh, really? Wow. I didn't know that.
I think the idea is that someone like Buttigieg dropped out of the Democratic primaries in 2020, in return for a favor. And that favor was a position in the Biden White House.
Yes.
But Biden and Buttigieg are the same, politically speaking. It's not like he was, looking at his political values and then like throwing them in the trash in order to help someone he completely disagrees with policy-wise to win the presidential election. It's a little different with RFK Jr. Like, honestly, I don't know what RFK Jr. really stands for. I'll give you a little more from that super lengthy May tweet from this year. He also wrote that Trump appointed the worst neocons to the highest positions of power in his administration: John Bolton, H.R. McMaster, and Robert O'Brien. Now Lindsey Graham is one of his top advisors and likely to be his Secretary of State. President Trump bombed Syria, killed an Iranian general, and failed to fulfill his promise of ending the war in Afghanistan. Now, again, this isn't from a few years ago, right? This is even worse than the J.D. Vance situation, because J.D. Vance was hating on Trump many years ago when he was first, coming onto the political scene, and he claims he had a change of heart. But with RFK Jr., really, you had a change of heart in just a few short months? Really? And you really think that Donald Trump is going to handle these issues better the second time around? Like, I just have a hard time believing he genuinely feels that way. So he was asked about this while on Fox News. He was speaking to Shannon Bream. Let's hear what he had to say.
In a recent text exchange, Kennedy told one person that Trump was a terrible human being, the worst president ever and barely human. He is probably a sociopath. Now, I haven't read your text, so you can speak to that. But how did you get from that position to Friday night?
Well, it became clear to me that I did not have a path to victory. 16 months of censorship, of not being able to get on any network really except for Fox. President Trump had been reaching out to me. And I talked to him a few hours after the assassination attempt, and we had a long conversation by phone. I then had 2 extensive meetings, and there were issues, the broad issues that were most important to me, the ones that brought me into the campaign, which was ending the Ukraine war, ending the censorship, and protecting children's health. We're all reforming our food supply, all the things that we need to do to make our children healthy again. Those are all things that President Trump also wanted to work on. And he invited me to form a unity government. We agreed that we'd be able to continue to criticize each other on issues on which we don't agree.
Let's see how the public criticism of Donald Trump actually plays out once it happens. But also, ending censorship, a priority of his. So he's going to endorse the guy who said that he's going to deport pro-Palestinian protesters. Okay, All
Yeah.
right.
No,
Look, I don't care. To be honest with you, I don't care who RFK Jr. endorses. RFK Jr. from the very beginning has not really been an interesting candidate, in my opinion. Like, I haven't really cared. Third-party candidates are never going to win. I think what happened to him when he was running as a Democrat was absolutely wrong, and I think Democrats need to come to terms that while they preach about saving democracy, they engage in undemocratic behavior. And in a way, this is chickens coming home to roost for Democrats because he's kind of retaliating over the way that he treated them, or the way he was treated by them, I should say.
Yeah.
So, go
All
ahead.
right. Last couple of things here. Number one, I'll add the media to the guilty parties here, and I think they're number one actually on the list. The guy was sitting at 20 points in the Democratic primary, and nobody did a town hall, nobody did a debate, nobody had him on. That's outrageous. 20 points is a giant number. 12 points in the general election is a giant number. No town halls, total media blockade. Oh, but the media did talk about him. They went looking for needles in a haystack. And yeah, with RFK Jr., they found a lot of needles. Makes you think maybe it is the haystack. But having said that, you only looked for dirt. You never actually took ever shared any of his actual policies with the American people. So if you're in the mainstream media, just admit that you're biased and you don't like outsider candidates and you smear them and you never give them a fair hearing. It isn't about Bobby Kennedy Jr. It's about the media. It doesn't matter if it's a perfectly honest guy like Bernie Sanders. It doesn't matter if it's RFK Jr. It doesn't matter if it's a right-winger. We'll buy like Tom Massey, who's perfectly honest. We disagree on a lot of things, or most things, but he's honest. No. Outsiders suck. We hate outsiders. That's mainstream media. Just be honest for the first time in your life, but you won't. Instead, you just keep banning people. By the way, we're going to ban your ass when you're smaller than us. Oh, please, can we get on? No, F off. You can't, okay? I can't wait to do the same treatment to the establishment. Reality number two, they were probably running out of money, guys. Nicole Shanahan's financing this. She's the VP candidate. When it became clear after Kamala Harris entered the race, they're not going to win. Any pathway to victory was closed off. And she's like, am I going to spend another $10, $20 million chasing this down? That's the real reason all of this is happening. Third thing is, I'm positive now. This is personal, right? Because I hate the media. I hate the way the Democratic Party runs primaries. I would never support Trump. It's obvious that Bobby Kennedy Jr. is pissed at all these people on a personal level. So he's like, well, screw them. I'm going to the right wing now. Yay, MAGA. And I don't like that. I think it's wrong. Finally, can we just have one, I know you got to get financed. I know it's super hard. But one decent, honest person run as a third party, and maybe we could see if this thing could ever work, right? Where you actually stick with it. So all of RFK Jr.'s critiques, now their policies I disagreed with, but his critiques of Trump were exactly right, and his critiques of the Democratic Party were oftentimes right. But no, at the end, politics gets them all, and they get frustrated, and then they go and join one side hoping for some sort of political advantage. Good luck. I don't think it's going to work out for you.
By the way, Nicole Shanahan, RFK Jr.'s running mate, has not endorsed Donald Trump because she wants him to apologize for Operation Warp Speed. So.
Oh, yeah. He's not going to do that.
Yeah,
you keep waiting. You're irrelevant. Sorry, but it's true. I mean, look, RFK Jr. was the only one talking about the closing the carried interest loophole that Trump promised and didn't do. Hey, Kamala Harris, where are you? Why aren't you talking about that? That's an absolute outrage. Why aren't you talking about it? Oh, right, your donors on Wall Street, and they like that loophole, and you're going to keep that for them. So that's why I'm frustrated that somebody who had at times would say things that are true about both sides, now he's gone in the MAGA tent. He'll never talk about the carried interest loophole during this campaign again.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.